lot to talk about. So the last time I did a video at all, my Camtech Mini, of which we now have a different shell. Sorry, my Camtech Mini, my Mardave Mini, excuse my French, wasn't going too great. And luckily at Force we have a couple of really good drivers who are willing to give their time kind of for free, even though you pay for the rent of the race venue, which is, you know, completely understandable. But they gave their time for free. They weren't making any money out of it. They gave last Saturday morning the two mats. They gave up their Saturday morning and the majority, to be honest, of their Saturday afternoon to come and to run a car clinic type thing, a little workshop of all the things they do with their minis and hot hatches to make them go what feels like twice as fast as ours. So as you saw on the last video, I'd swapped my pod back to the completely standard pod. Now, I did a couple of laps with this back in place, and to be perfectly honest, it flew. It handled really well. Wasn't as fast. I wasn't quite as confident as I'd want to be with the vehicle. Anyway, I did 10-20 laps with it like that, and I was really happy with the fact that it was actually behaving as I wanted it to behave. So that was good. That was positive. Happy days all round. However, we then started discussing our cars on an individual basis, and I shall start taking some body clips out to discuss this. Basically, the pod that I'd taken off, I was pretty much told to put that back on, due to the fact that we'll try to get in here. One of the big things that these cars were lacking on the standard pod. Now, I don't know in fairness whether or not this is just a very old pod and new kits don't come with this, but it doesn't have what are called droop screws, or anywhere to put droop screws in. Now, in fairness, the two kits that I've got from Mardave, none of the pods have a droop screw adjustment. So I was basically told straight away to strip that and go back to the old pod, and we'll correct the issues that are there with the old pod. It's a little bit dirty because it literally hasn't come out of the box. This is the first time me looking at it, so I've got bits of fluff everywhere. But by the end of that day, or that morning and afternoon, I'd shaved almost a second and a half off the car. And if you want to look back to the previous race video, there'll be a link in that corner. I'll pop some footage on now, and bear in mind we're now on this shell. Have a look at the race footage now, and you'll see the car is absolutely flying in comparison to what it was. And that's with no additive on the front. I'm going to run this now for the 5 minutes, and then I'm going to back through it after the motor's coming down. The difference is night and day. Night and day. Mine's a bit loud. looking at that footage that the car was definitely going and handling better. So big kudos to the boys for sorting that out, and I certainly left exceptionally happy, and definitely happy and more confident with the car's handling and also how to go about changing things. I got home, well, sorry, another indication of how cool the place is at Force, and some of the stuff that really makes the place cool, is there was a table at the end, and anybody, the two mats both put some bits and bobs there that were very much take your pick. These are old stuff that we're not going to use anymore. If you think you can find use out of it, just take it. No money was asked for. It was very generous of the lads to sort some bits and bobs out like that. Now, I didn't necessarily pick anything up until another racer said to me, I'm not running Mini anymore, and therefore I'm going to add something to that table. And literally it was a table of free stuff, and it was this. So this is a Mini carbon fibre chassis. So I was I was blown away, really. I mean, that's very generous and very cool of somebody to just let you have this because they've decided they don't want to run the Mini again, which was top. I got to admit, very blown away by the gesture. You know who you are. I'm not sure if you watch these videos, but if you do, cheers, pal. Thank you very much. That was mega. Other things. So when I arrived home, obviously very chuffed that the Mini was running well, and freebies, you know, happy days all round. Also got home to an order from Mardave. So in fairness to Mardave as a company, I only placed the order, I think, on Friday morning. So Saturday afternoon, what I'd actually asked for had come, and I didn't ask for express shipping, or I certainly don't think I did. If I did, then don't tell the wife, because I've clicked the wrong button. But anyway, it was there waiting for me, and this is the new rear pod. So more pod issues. Honestly, spoke more about pods over the past 2 weeks than anything else. So the new rear pod goes on the Mardave, and instead of having two springs either side there, you get one central spring. And my understanding is that is still the one that will calibrate your ride height, but you get one spring on here and a spring here, and that is what's then dealing with your suspension and cornering and technical term stuff. So I've gone from having sorted the car out, so I'm a bit, do I start messing with it? Should I give it a week? But I'm pretty much signed off that I'm going to strip this now and get it run with the new pod. Some of the little bits that came, instead of the foam bumper on the front, I've got this, I don't know if it's new from Mardave or not, but there's this new soft spongy honeycomb bumper. So I'm going to put that on instead of the foam bumper. Excuse me, guys. And give that a whirl. I'm sure that's still going to be as good as foam, possibly a little bit harder than the impact. Well, I don't know. When you're feeling the foam, I think this is just as good and certainly will weigh less, because it's all about, you know, those tiny little tenths of performance. When you get to my level in the seas, it's all about those tenths. So that's going to fit. The only thing that I'm a bit squiffy about is I really like how I've mounted the power cap now with these DDR racing ones. I've sort of reamed out the hole there, and the power cap fits in really nice and snug, as opposed to fitting in what is a small space. But I'm sure I'll have a think and work that out in a little while. So yeah, that is all the stuff that I've got to do before tomorrow night. Right guys, so this is it built, and you will spot immediately that this is not, where's it go? This, which is the carbon chassis that I was all excited about, and it's not gone well, the build, when it comes to this, for one and one only fundamental issue. The this clearly must be an older style chassis, and these are, although these are the GRP ones, these are probably the more modern ones, and hopefully the more eagle-eyed among you will immediately spot there is only one pod hole. That's the pod hole there, and the more modern shells have two. Unfortunately, or fortunately, at the end of the day, they clearly do it for performance reasons, to make the car either better or easier to drive. The new kits only will fit the newer chassis with the pods, which I get it, it's kind of fair enough, you know. So everything was stripped off. We got into building this, and then we realised what the problem was, and we stripped everything off again. So I've rebuilt and done the car 2 or 3 times now. The build itself's gone really well. A couple of key things I really like. I got to admit, I really like the new front bumper. I hope that's legal, as opposed to all this. This is a really good design from DDR Racing, but it is, if you have a look at how it looks in comparison, this is a lot neater and tidier, and just looks, I gotta admit, it does look the bollocks. And that's me swearing on them. Promised I wouldn't do that on this channel. Anyway, the point being, I think that does look good. Sean, I'm sure you can make something like that, so I challenge you to get that. Something along those lines made, because I do like all your stuff. I'm running 3mm at the front, or 3.2 depending how level this might be. So I'm running 3 or 3.2 at the front, which for some reason I can't get an accurate reading. I've got 4mm at the back, and that all seems to be pretty good. I was worried how I'd tidy up the cap, and it's managed to go onto there quite well, which from performance points of view, because these, you know, in the C's we're all about performance, it means my transponders are a little bit further forward, so if I'm battling and I go over the line half a wheel in front and their transponders sat a little bit back, or if we go over the lines, you know, level, but my transponder's further forward than what the other car's transponder is, then I win, which, you know, it really matters. The only thing that I've found perplexing is, I don't know if it's a fault with the kit or if it's something I've done wrong, so I'm no expert. I've sent a couple of messages to a couple of guys who I know are quite into the Mardaves, and I haven't got an answer back yet, so I'm sure I'll get one tomorrow night when I'm at Force. These, I don't know, they're very small. These are 4mm spacers. Now these are the spacers that are supposed to go in between the new battery holders, but that will bring the battery holder very, very low. And what happens with that then is you've got absolutely no pod movement. The pod's almost pinned down. Now I don't know if that's something I'm doing wrong, or whether or not these 4mm spacers for the battery holder were supplied or picked inaccurately, or whatever. I don't know. Questions have been asked, answers will be found. Other than that, I gotta admit, I really like it. I like how it looks. It looks tidy. The only other little tweak and issue I've got is, because the location of the body posts is ever so slightly different to what it is with this set. I've lost the set. No, there it is. With this one, they're like 0.5 mm different is to where they go. They're just set that a little bit further back, so the body's a little bit stretched. So we'll be reaming a couple of holes out, and the body may be doing a bit of that down the straight, but I can live with that. Hopefully it'll run well, and other than that, I really like it. It looks nice and clean and tidy. I've got to admit, it doesn't look as complicated or robust. Oh, one quick point. So again, I'm not 100% sure if I've done the right thing or the wrong thing. On the Mardave video, they leave these old spring holders in situ, but seeing as there's no spring in them, I didn't see the necessity to leave them in. So on my build, I've took them out. Now I guess that's I've removed them, so the spring holders will be there. But I'm perplexed as to whether or not there was a specific reason to leave them in, or it doesn't make any difference, and I'll be fine. But again, I'll ask some of the Mardave gurus when I'm at the track tomorrow night. Not that this video is going to come out on order, I don't think, so we'll see how we get on. So cheers for tuning in, thanks for watching the build.